Hello everyone, I all hope you had a very wonderful and a very beautiful day. Today I'm exactly shooting the last episode, but I'll see you on next week Monday. Today's episode is about the Dark King. As you quietly know, guys, it's very quietly windy outside, so the door is quietly making funny sounds, making funny noises and funny sounds. Anyway, today's episode is about the Dark King, who is the original member of an ancient secret society of supervillains known as the Founders. He and the Dark King formed this ancient secret society of supervillains known as the Founders in order to conquer worlds, planets, universes and galaxies and worlds and planets and other civilizations across the known universe and across the rest of sacred existence by any and all means necessary. Dark Gray is even the father of the darkest family, as in the father of the darkest family, as in he is also the ancient. He's an ancient supervillain and an unknown to the sacred world, and unknown to the sacred world, and unknown to sacred history. He is the father of the darkest family, a family of a family of 4 nation hunters, which I previously told you about. He is ancient and an unknown throughout sacred history. He's been plaguing sacred history through through famine, through poverty, manipulating events and controlling events and controlling wars of all alien civilizations, even controlling the reality of all other powerful super criminals who even exactly decided to aid him in his mission and also in his goal to conquering the known universe and also the sacred world and all other planets throughout the rest of sacred existence by any and all means necessary. In the 14th century, Dark Gray exactly built a huge golden city filled with many descendants of the darkest family, able to exactly live in a golden city for many years. During at that time, Dark Gray thought of expanding his dominion and his rule throughout the rest of sacred existence, but his people exactly disagreed with him and exactly literally disagreed with him and they exactly disagreed with him and exactly did not approve of his advancement and his experiments. But Dark Witch Boy came to him and exactly offered to exactly expanding his dominion and also his rule and also expanding and also decided to empower him with more powers and more dark energy. Dark Gray graciously accepted all the offer and all the terms of Dark Witch Boy, which Dark Witch Boy exactly did. He gave him more power and more shadow energy, which exactly empowered him, made him more immortal than anything, made him more immortal than any living thing has ever lived throughout the sacred world, made him more powerful, more intelligent, more quick thinking, enhancing his memory, giving him enhanced memory, endurance, agility, in strength and super speed and immortality and enhanced memory, and also in endurance and super speed and super strength, granting him these superpowers and these super abilities, even boosting his immortal rate, making him more immortal and making him more powerful. At that time, Darkrai decided to destroy his city and the rest of his people in order to expand his dominion, which he successfully did. In doing so, he destroyed the rest of the city and the rest of his descendants. Along with it, some of the descendants were unable to survive, but the others were able to survive due to the abilities of their genetic powers, due to their due to the abilities of the genetic powers of the genetic DNA of the genetic powers, which were activated after the destruction of the city. Dark Gray was quietly very pleased and very quietly very happy and very quietly satisfied at this. In doing so, he conquered 3 planets and 3 worlds. Meaning meaning 6 worlds, meaning 6 planets under his sole control in the 40th century, which was able to exactly do so. By conquering all those worlds, he was able to expand his dominion and his rule throughout the rest of sacred world and throughout the rest of sacred history by doing so exactly, and by making his presence and by making his presence and his rule to be felt and also to be known. The Four Nation Hunters decided it's best to remove this threat, and to stop this enemy effective immediately, which they successfully did exactly by doing so. They fought with Dark Grey. They fought with Dark Grey in the sacred forest, clashed with him with their swords and powers and daggers and spears. Dark Grey was able to overpower the enemy and was able to exactly become triumph in a battle, which he successfully did. He built the greatest, biggest empire throughout sacred history of rogue, powerful dark hunters who aid him in his mission to conquering the known universe and the rest of sacred existence by any and all means necessary. The Four Nation Hunters were the one able to succeed in preventing Darkrai from conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations, but they were able to prevent him from conquering cities and planets and worlds, which they're successfully able to do. Darkrai realized that by this little setback, it's time that he formed an ancient and all-powerful secret society of supervillains. He met with another powerful villain known as Dark Grey, who also had his own goal and his own ambition to conquering the known universe and the rest of sacred existence, which the two exactly agreed that they exactly formed. They formed combining their resources and their followers, which they successfully did by naming their secret society their secret society of supervillains known as the Founders, which was exactly formed by Dark Grey and the Dark King. The Dark King was very pleased to work with Dark Grey. The Dark King was very pleased to work with Dark Grey and also with Dark Grey, and also to combining their resources and utilizing their resources and their powers and their abilities to conquering the rest of sacred existence and also humanity in the process. By doing so, they combine their resources and utilizing their resources to conquering the vast worlds and vast planets. But their attempts were quietly thwarted due to the intervention of Universal Man and the Four Nation Hunters, which was successfully able to prevent him from conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations. Darkrai realizes that the Four Nation Hunters have become a problem and also become a threat to his plan and also to his ruling in conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations across the sacred universe. He decided it's best of extending few invitations to powerful super criminals known as Queen Ivy, Mr. X, Red Boy, Silverface, Dark King, and Dark Witch Boy. He extended few invitations to powerful super criminals known as Queen Ivy, Mr. X, Silverface, Dark Witch Boy, Dark King, Red Boy. These villains joined forces together, utilizing their resources. He soon afterward formed the Founders in order to conquering the known universe and the rest of sacred existence, which they successfully did. He reconvened with the members of the Founders on the 2nd of August in order to discuss their plans. Queen Ivy exactly told him that the Shadow Empire is still in power and the Lolo Magic is still quietly in power, and he's quietly conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations across the known universe. Darkrai believed that the universal heroes would exactly stop the Lolo Magic, and they'll exactly triumph in a battle against the Grandmaster, which they successfully did. The Dark King quietly agreed with Darkrai, saying that the universal heroes will exactly stop the threat of the Lolo Magic, and which they exactly did by doing so. 2 months after the news of the Lolo Magic and after the news of the Lolo Magic's demise, and the fall of the Shadow Empire, and then the fall of the Shadow Empire's power, losing its power, and the Shadow Empire descending into chaos, and Shadow Empire warlords and commanders are fighting for each section of the known universe, trying to conquer each section of the known universe and the rest of the sector. The members of the Founders reconvene, and Dark Witch Boy and Red Boy decided it's best that they exactly conquer and begin with the experiment's notation to unlocking the secrets of shadow energy and all their powers and all their abilities in order to create an army to conquer planet Earth and the rest of humanity. Dark King reassured the members of the founders the plan was in place in order to deal with the universal heroes and all the aliens who pose a threat and all the aliens who pose a, and all the aliens who pose a threat to their universal dominance and to their universal domination goals and also to their goals and also to their missions. Darkrai was very quietly pleased and very quietly happy to exactly hear this. Darkrai began crafting his own plan and his own idea and creating a powerful strategy and his own idea to conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations with the Shadow Empire losing its power. Some of the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders decided to form an alliance with other secret society of supervillains known as the Order of the Five, the Sacred Circle, the Founders, which they successfully did. Darkrai was able to convene with the members of the Shadow Empire, with the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, which they successfully exactly did. They decided in return that they'll give him destructive technology, supply them with destructive technologies and powerful dark technologies as per of the agreement, and as per of the agreement, in return they'll supply the founders with more worlds and more planets that are under the Shadow Empire's control, which they successfully did exactly by doing so. Darkrai was very quietly pleased and very quietly happy. With the Shadow Empire losing the war, as in literally losing the war, the Intergalactic Coalition has managed to liberate thousands of worlds, as able to exactly liberate thousands of worlds and thousands of planets and thousands of star systems for the Shadow Empire, from the Shadow Empire warlords and from the Shadow Empire's control, and able to liberate thousands of worlds and thousands of star systems for the Shadow Empire's control. Darkrai decided this was the best opportunity to secretly reconquering all those worlds and all those civilizations. The Dark King advises him that he'll use his fleet in order to send out a warning, in order to dispatch a warning to the rest of the galaxy, stating that he's from the sacred universe and that his universe must not be touched by any alien incursion or invasion by any means necessary. At least administration will be dealt with a very deadly severity punishment administrated will be with the deadly punishment will be administrated as the Dark King exposes his fleet of battle cruisers across the known universe, demonstrating his power and his ability that he is exactly the Dark King from the sacred universe and also from the sacred world, and that his universe will not be touched by any alien incursion or invasion. He exactly showed the rest of the galaxy and the rest of sacred existence that his universe must not be touched by any alien incursion or invasion. He threatened all aliens and all alien civilizations and all alien civilizations and clans, stating that his universe will not be touched by any alien incursion or invasion. He demonstrated his power and his capacity by showing his fleet of battle cruisers, which were traveling the galaxy, which were traveling the sacred universe, galaxy to galaxy. And Darkrai was very quietly pleased and very quietly happy, saying that the Dark King has demonstrated the powers of the founders, stating that the sacred universe will not be touched by any alien incursion or invasion. Darkrai was very quietly pleased with this result and was very quietly happy. He ordered some of the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders to start attacking other worlds and other planets in order to get the attention of the Intergalactic Coalition, which they successfully did. The Intergalactic Coalition were able to intercept many battle cruisers of the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, which they successfully did in doing so. They were able to exactly neutralize the enemy's battle cruisers. Two sides were quietly decimated, but the enemy was quietly successfully detained, and quietly brought into custody, and were quietly sentenced straightly into the astral prison, where they'll be taken sentenced into the astral prison, which they were exactly sent. Darkrai hosted a video conference of the members of the founders in order to inform them of the progress of the planning, that conquering planet Earth is quietly coming along well and quietly coming along good, and that the plan is quietly making huge progress, and that in conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations is quietly coming to a peace deal. Queen Ivy stated that since the Shadow Empire is in chaos since the Shadow Empire is in chaos, they should exactly take advantage of the chaos and exactly use it in order for the agents, to use the destructive technology, for the agents to use the destructive technology to cause chaos and turmoil across the other sacred worlds, and planets. Which Stargrave purposely agreed that he really dispatches agents and they're really exactly wreaking havoc and chaos among other worlds and among other planets across sacred existence by doing so by any means necessary. Mr. X was quietly pleased and proud, saying that the press is quietly successfully agreeing with the matter of saying that the universal heroes and the world heroes exactly poses a threat to society, and that he exactly has a plan to take them down once and for all. The Dark Grey was very quietly pleased and very quietly happy and satisfied in doing so. Dark Grey even teleported to the Silver Knight's home world in order to meet with these ally in order to reassure him that all the worlds and all the planets will be under his sole control by any and all means necessary. Silver Knight was quietly very proud and very quietly very pleased with this development. He exactly reassured Dark Grey that his forces and the rest of his armies will exactly be on standby in case of needing any of assistance or any backup. Dark Grey was very quietly pleased. Both of them exactly shook hands. As part of their deal, as they'll exactly conquer the known universe and the rest of sacred existence together, as remarked as a powerful alliance, as Silver Knight and Dark Grey, as Silver Knight and the founders exactly made a deal many centuries ago, as they did before, remarking as a deal, as a partnership, and also the deal of a partnership, and also their long-term plans in conquering the rest of sacred existence and the rest of the known universe by any and all means necessary. Dark Grey was quietly looking through his monitors as seeing everything else was quietly in place in conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations, seeing that the Shadow Empire is quietly falling in chaos and descending in chaos. He was very quietly very pleased in doing so, was very quietly very happy and very successfully quietly pleased to see the progress of his work and the progress of his mission quietly coming along. The other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders reconvened with Dark Grey in order to inform him of the new threat of the new Lord of Magic and his new secret society of supervillains, which is quietly still at large and is still quietly working within the shadows. Dark Grey was beneath himself. He was very quietly shocked and very quietly alarmed that there's a new secret society of supervillains and the new Lord of Magic. He decided it's time now to use the fleet that has been given at his disposal to conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations. He told the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders to start conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations, which they successfully did. The Intergalactic Coalition was able to intercept a huge fleet of battle cruisers headed straight into conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations. They were able to exactly battle with them. Both sides quietly suffered enormous amounts of casualties, but there were lives were lost on both sides as all were decimated. The enemy was able to successfully escape as some of the enemies were unable to teleport away, but some of the enemies were successfully taken into custody by the Intergalactic Coalition and by the Universal Heroes. Dark Grey decided it's best to reconvene with the members of the Founders and decided to inform them on his plans in evolving humanity and in controlling mankind from within the population, which is successfully did by doing so. Red Boy was very quietly pleased with this development. Dark Witch Boy was very quietly happy. Professor War was very quietly pleased. The Dark King was very quietly happy and very quietly satisfied. Queen Ivy was very quietly sadistically happy. Mr. X was very quietly beneath himself. He was also very happy. Silverface was also very quietly agreeable. They all agreed that it's time that they tighten their grip on the known universe and also on the rest of sacred existence. They view the universal heroes and the world heroes and the Intergalactic Coalition as a threat to their plans in conquering worlds and planets and civilizations. Despite this, Dark Grey is immortal and very powerful. He has lived for many centuries, as in many centuries. He has lived for 14,000 centuries. He formed his partnership. He formed his partnership with Silver Knight. In the 13th century, when Silver Knight tried to conquer the sacred world and the rest of sacred existence. Together, they exactly made a deal that they'll conquer the known universe and the rest of sacred existence together. And in return of this partnership, they'll continue supplying each other more worlds and more planets, more worlds and more planets, more worlds and more planets and more civilizations. And in exchange for this, Silver Knight agreed to supply them with more destructive technologies, with more dark and powerful technologies to their forces, and also to the founders agent, as per of the deal, and of a new pact, and pair of the deal and pair of the new pact and new agreement. Despite this, Dark Grey is very immortal and very intelligent and very, 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 very powerful. He's very skilled in hand-to-hand combat, very skilled in swordsmanship, daggers, blades. He has super strength, super speed, enchanted memory, endurance, agility. He uses swords, blades. He even has flight, the power of flight and super speed and super strength. He is extremely immortal. He has lived for 14 centuries, meaning his secret society is as ancient as he is. He's an ancient villain and a father of the darkest family, as in the father of the darkest family. The father of the darkest family. He is the father of the darkest family, meaning, in other words, he is unknown throughout sacred history. According to the Formation Hunter database and to the Universal Hero database, Dark Grey is an unknown villain who has never been read throughout Sacred World's history. He's never quietly been unseen. He's an unseen villain who does things in a very dark way. He wants to conquer vast worlds and vast civilizations for his empire and also for his people. He'll do just about anything to advance his people, to advance his people's civilization, and also adapt it and also improve it. He'll do just about anything to exactly seize control of worlds and planets, even by forming an alliances with other super criminals such as Queen Ivy, Dark Witch Boy, Professor War, Silver Face, Dark King, Mr. X, Dark Witch Boy, Mr. X, Dark Witch Boy, forming an alliances with these criminals in order to form his secret society of supervillains known as the Founders. He is the founder and leader of the Darkest Family, and he's also the founder and leader of the secret society of supervillains known as the Founders. He and the Dark King have lived for 14 centuries, meaning they have lived throughout sacred history, meaning for many centuries to come. They've lived even now in the present time. He views the universal heroes and the intergalactic coalition and the world heroes as a threat to his plans in conquering the known universe and in conquering the rest of sacred existence. He has his grand vision for humanity. Yeah, he has his own grand vision in building humanity, in building the rest of humanity in his own way, and in crafting evolution, to enforce evolution upon humanity, and also to adapt humanity in his own interest. He believes that the Darkest Family is destined to rule humanity, and they are quietly destined to become the leading saviors of mankind by any and all means necessary. The universal heroes have thwarted his plans several times, have frequently clashed with the Founders for several years and for many years to come in trying to stop their attempts in conquering humanity, and also in manipulating events and controlling events and manipulating events and trying to exactly control the wars into their own use in order to use the wars for their own personal gain, to conquering the rest of the worlds and the rest of the planets across sacred world and across sacred universe. He'll do just about anything to conquering the sacred universe, the Star Universe, the Golden Universe, the Mixel Universe, the Robotic Universe. He'll do just about anything to conquering those universes and also planet Earth and the rest of humanity. He and the Dark King have been allies for centuries, meaning in the 40th century, he and the Dark King formed the secret society of supervillains known as the Founders in trying to conquering humanity, and the rest of sacred world by any means necessary. But their attempts were quietly thwarted. By the Four Nation Hunters, who were able to exactly clash with their forces and with their greatest forces of the empire, which is successfully exactly did. By doing so, both of their forces were decimated, but some of them were able to quickly survive. At that time, Dark Grey realized that the Four Nation Hunters are becoming a threat, and they pose a threat to his plan and also to his long-term plan in conquering the rest of sacred existence and the rest of humanity. He'll do just about anything to conquering humanity and the rest of sacred existence and the rest of sacred world by any and all means necessary. He's the founder and leader of the Founders and a founder and leader of the darkest family of Four Nation Hunters, which I previously taught you about. He's exactly lived for all this time and for all many years. He's an ancient villain who has lived for many centuries to come, and he is blessed with immortality, which makes him dangerous and very powerful. He's very strategic. He's a very powerful master tactician, and also full of strategies and abilities in controlling events, manipulating wars to his advantage in order to conquering the rest of the known worlds, and the rest of the planets, in order to exactly forming in alliances with other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders in order for them to utilize their resources for his own goals and for his own personal vendetta Despite this, Dark Grey will go to many lengths, will go to many extreme measures to conquering all the worlds and all the civilizations across the known universe and across the rest of sacred existence by any and all means necessary. He's intelligent, he's smart, and he has raw intellect, and he's a mortal hunter who has lived for 14 centuries, meaning for 14 millennia. He was born at the dawn of the sacred world, and is a very powerful ancient villain, a father of the darkest family, meaning in other words, he should not be underestimated. He cannot be underestimated. The universal heroes have clashed with the secret society over humanity over the past few years, and they have learned from the experience that Dark Grey and the Dark King are not meant to be underestimated, as in completely not meant to be underestimated. In the 20th century, Dark Grey was trying to build a huge temple. Dark Grey was trying to build a huge, ancient, magnificent temple in the Golden Universe, which he successfully did. For him and his secret society, and his followers, for them to exactly reconvene, and to discuss their plans, which they successfully did in doing so. The Dark King was very quietly happy that Dark Grey built an ancient sacred temple for him to exactly use it as a central headquarters, for him to exactly reconvene with the members of the Founders to discuss their plans and their operations, which they successfully do. Dark Grey maintains his usual basis for his secret society to operate exactly for where they can exactly meet and discuss, where they can exactly meet and discuss in the shadows, He uses ancient temples and dark worlds and dark planets as central headquarters for him to exactly meet and talk and discuss his operations with the members of the Founders, which his purposely always exactly do. He maintains his usual bases and his headquarters for them to exactly speak and convene and to discuss the operations with the rest of the Founders, which they successfully always exactly do. Queen Ivy was very quietly pleased and very quietly happy that Dark Grey built an ancient, magnificent temple in the Golden Universe, which was exactly used for him as a central headquarters for him and the Founders to exactly meet and reconvene and discuss their plans and their operations, which was successfully very quietly pleased at this and the development is seeing the temple at its greatest capacity. Dark Grey uses ancient worlds and ancient temples as headquarters, as bases and headquarters for him to exactly meet and discuss with these associates, with these agents, and with his followers, for them to exactly discuss their plans in conquering the known universe and the rest of sacred existence by any and all means necessary. He's a very powerful villain and a very ancient villain who has lived for many centuries to come. He is the father of the darkest family, meaning in other words, the father of the darkest family. He's unknown throughout sacred history, and he's never been seen and never been read throughout sacred history. According to Universal Man's database and to United Man database and to the Phoenician Man database, Dark Grey is a very, very powerful ancient villain who has plagued sacred society through wars, through famine, through chaos, and through deception, and through manipulation and through extortion. He'll do just about anything to exactly seize control of worlds and also seizing control of galactic powers, which he'll do just about that by any and all means necessary. When he heard the news about the new law of magic and his new secret society, he was exactly shocked and exactly beside himself. He decided it is best to seize control of vast worlds and vast planets in order for the Shadow Empire to conquer vast worlds and vast planets. But he quickly realized that the Universal Heroes and the Intergalactic Coalition would exactly prevent him from conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations. But he even formed an alliance with other powerful dark magic users known as the Seconds, the dark witches, the dark druids, the dark witches, the dark druids, and the dark faithful, the ice children and the ice druids and the ice witches, and all of them, even Ghostmaster and Windmaster, who is an enforcer of the secret society of supervillains known as the Founders. Windmaster is very quietly dedicated. He was very quietly proud. Dark Grey and the Dark King and Queen Ivy exactly chose him to become the enforcer of the new secret society of supervillains, and Windmaster was quietly proud and very quietly beneath himself, and he said in himself that he was quietly honored. He reconvened with the members of the Founders, and he successfully told them that his mission was a quiet success in destroying the energy goblin creature that the Outer Circle was trying to use as a personal enforcer, which were personally trying to exactly use it as a personal enforcer in order to use it as a warning to threaten anyone else who posed a threat to their rule and to their power. Dark Grey was very quietly pleased, saying that Windmaster, his performance in his work was quietly accurate and was very quietly sharp. Mr. X said that they made the right choice making him as a new enforcer for the Founders, and Windmaster was very honored to become the enforcer of the Founders, and Dark King was very quietly pleased and very quietly successfully happy. Despite this, Dark Grey is a very powerful ancient villain, very skilled in hand-to-hand combat and swordsmanship. He'll do just about anything to exactly seize control of galactic powers and seizing control of the war, and he'll turn the tide of the war no matter how difficult it is. When he had the word and the rumors of the new law of magic, he was quietly shocked and beside himself. He decided it's best that he seizes control of the war and also the inevitability of the new threat of all the worlds and on the new threat of all the worlds and all the planets, and he'll do just about anything to secure those worlds and those planets and place them under his sole control. He's the founder and leader of the secret society of supervillains known as the Founders, who trying to conquering vast worlds and vast planets across the rest of sacred existence by any and all means necessary. He's an ancient villain and an unknown throughout the rest of sacred history, and he'll do just about anything to tighten his grip on the known universe and also across the other worlds, across the other worlds and across the other sacred, across the other worlds and across the other sacred, across the other worlds and across the other sacred, across the other world, across the other worlds and across the other sacred universes by any and all means necessary. The Universal Heroes and the World Heroes and United Heroes in the Galactic Coalition know very well not to underestimate the Dark King and Dark Grey and all the other villains that have managed to exactly come out, all the other secret society of supervillains they managed to exactly frequently clashing with, especially the Sacred Circle, the Order of the Five, the Founders, the Order of the Six, and the Order of the Seven. They are not meant to be underestimated. This secret society of supervillain is ancient and powerful, and it has been formed many centuries ago. Meaning, on the 40th century, it was formed by two ancient villains known as Dark Grey and also the Dark King, who has their own goals and their own mission for the rest of sacred existence and for the rest of the known universe and for the rest of sacred existence and for the rest of the known universe and for the rest of sacred world. They'll do just about anything to empower themselves and also to conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations and manipulating wars. The Universal Heroes know this, that they cannot be underestimated, as in never to be underestimated. Well, I all hope you enjoyed this video and this episode. I all hope you have a blessed weekend and a very, very beautiful day and a very, very glamorous day. Stay safe and stay positive. See you on Monday. Yeah, I'll see you on Monday. See you on Monday. Bye.